guys, Pastor Steve. We are continuing last part, finally, of our 5-part series on the wilderness. One, we talked about the wilderness reveals the battle within. The wilderness breaks false sources of security. The wilderness confronts the lie of going back. The wilderness trains us to recognize God's voice. And today we're going to finalize it with the wilderness strengthens us for future battles. See, the wilderness doesn't weaken us. It prepares us for war. Ephesians 6:11 tells us to put on the whole armor of God. That means this battle, it's not natural, it's spiritual. And the wilderness is where we learn how to fight. Because the wilderness was never a destination. It's preparation for the promise. Before God brings us into what he has planned for us, he works something into us. Romans 8:29 is an interesting scripture. It says that we are being conformed into the image of his son. That means the wilderness is shaping us. It's breaking pride. It's building trust. It's forming our identity. So we reflect who he is, his image, because God prepares us before he promotes us. Write that down. God prepares us before he promotes us. And sometimes we want the promise without the process. We want victory without training. But the wilderness slows us down so God can build us up. Because if we step into his promise without preparation, we won't sustain what he gives us. So the wilderness becomes a training ground where our strength is developed, our faith is stretched, and our dependence on God becomes real. See, because what God is doing in us is just as important as to where he's taking us. Deuteronomy 8 reminds us that as he led the children of Israel to the wilderness, he led them through the wilderness to humble them, to test them, to reveal what was in their heart, not to destroy them, but to develop them. See, because God can bring us out of Egypt in a moment, but he uses the wilderness to get us out of Egypt. Many of y'all know my story. I was born again in the Navy in Egypt. And I had no idea when he called me to preach. I thought I was going right to the promised land. But little did I know, I was going to the wilderness. 20 years of it. See, our old mindsets, our old reactions, our old identities are confronted in the process. And what feels like delay is actually development, because the wilderness is not wasted time. It's intentional. It's intentional preparation. God has promised lands for us, personally and corporately. Places of purpose, places of impact, places where his plans unfolds through our lives. When we don't step in those places unprepared, he shapes us for them. So when it feels hard, when it feels stretching, when it feels like everything is being challenged, we got to remember, we're not losing, we're learning. We're learning how to trust. We're learning how to obey. We're learning how to stand. We're learning how to fight. Because the wilderness is where we learn how to win. It's where we learn to put on truth, to walk in righteousness, to stand in faith, to live by the Spirit. So when the battle comes later, and battles happen in the promised land too, we're not surprised. We're ready. Because the wilderness did not break us. It built us. And what God formed in us there becomes the strength we carry everything into the head. God bless. Pastor Steve. Subscribe to our channel. That helps the algorithm and get more people focused on the word and get the word out there about Jesus Christ, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. God bless. Love you guys. Pastor Steve.